Hello, welcome back. I have another little book recommendation video today. Ignore everything that's happening behind me. My room's a bit of a mess, but I couldn't be bothered to clean it. So what are you gonna do? I don't know. Let's get on to the video. I put a TikTok out a while ago and I talked about how I loved Marvel because, hello, I'm a human being who breathes air. If you do not like Marvel, you probably won't like this video. Depends. Still watch, still come along for the ride, because you might, but the chances are that you probably won't be that interested. A lot of people on that video, and that video was like at the start of the year, because I'm really fast at replying to people's comments and answering people's wishes. A lot of people on that video said that they wanted to see a book recommendation video based on Marvel. So I've kind of come up with a couple of links that I found between some of my favorite books or just books that I really enjoyed and Marvel characters. I will forewarn you, a lot of these are going to be fantasy recommendations just because Marvel is fantasy, you know, so what do you want me to do about it? So if you don't like that genre, I'm sorry, but I think you should also stay because you might learn to love fantasy, which is the point of this video. So I would stay. It's really hot in here. I feel like I should open a window. Okay, if I just pass out, it's fine. So my recommendations are a little bit all over the place. Some of them are based on characters and some of them are based on themes? No, they're not based on themes. Some of them are based off of characters and some of them are based off of groups. That doesn't make any sense, but you'll see. It's all random, okay? Just come along for the ride, it's fun. The first character that is the center of this recommendation is Black Widow. We all love Black Widow. Natasha Romanoff, phenomenal. Scarlett Johansson, say less. Now, I love this character. If you don't know who Black Widow is, what have you been doing for your life? But you know what? I'm not here to judge people's life choices, so that's fine if you don't know who she is. If you don't know who Black Widow is, she's an assassin that joins the Avengers. Really, really cool. And she was trained as an assassin from a young age, and she's just the best. And she's just really fiery and powerful and can do lots of things. So, that really let her down with that description, but it's fine. My first recommendation, if you love Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Now, pre-warning. Unfortunately, in recent years, Sarah J. Maas has done some pretty problematic things. So I am not condoning the things that she's done, and I'm not saying that she is a good person at all. She's a phenomenal writer, in my personal opinion, but I don't agree with some of her life choices. Anyway, let's not get too political. If you want, I would suggest trying to buy these books secondhand, just so that the royalties don't go to her. But again, that's completely a personal choice. You do whatever you like. This is quite a long series. That's why I don't have all the books. There are about 8 books in this series, and I know that that seems like a lot, but when I tell you it's the greatest thing you'll ever read. Well, not the greatest. That's a big statement, but it's phenomenal. If you're looking for just a great fantasy series that has pretty much everything in it, this is the one. This is the one to start with. It's so good. I started reading these books when I was 13, and then I didn't have the last 2 books, so I just stopped reading them for some reason. Silly. And then years later, I graduated high school in 2020, and as soon as I finished high school, I had the other 2 books, and I was like, I really need to finish this series. So I started the series again from the start, and I read all of the books. Now that took me, there are about, I think, maybe 8 books. Hold on, does it say? Nope, it doesn't. I think there are about 8 books, and that took me from December to like the start of January. Wow, that doesn't seem like a long period of time. Am I a really fast reader? I think so. Anyway, that's how long it took me, and it broke my heart to finish the series because I felt like a part of me was missing. but it was also amazing to finish it, and I loved everything about it. I loved the ending. It was just so good. It was so good. So let me explain to you how to read them. The first official book is The Throne of Glass, and it looks like this, if you want to pick it up. However, I started with, there's a prequel book before the start of the series, and it's called The Assassin's Blade. I started with this. There are some, I believe there's a reading guide online that shows you different ways to read the series. You can either start with Assassin's Blade, or you can read the first 2 Throne of Glass books and then read Assassin's Blade. Look, I obviously have no idea, because I think whatever one you choose to do, that's going to be the version that you like the best, obviously, because you won't know any other way. I started with this, and I think that it was the better decision. Sorry. Purely because this talks about... Actually, let me explain what the book is about. That'd be really good, Georgina, instead of talking about random things. The book follows an assassin, Selena Sardothian. Sardothian? I don't know. I always read words in my head and then I go to speak them and I'm like, how do you say it? So don't judge me. Everybody does it. Selena Sardothian. We're going to say Sardothian for this video. It follows Selena Sardothian, who's similar to Black Widow. She was trained as an assassin. She was trained in the Assassin's Guild. Sounds so cool. She is infamous for being one of the best assassins of the time. A feared legend, if you will. Much like Black Widow. And she's just fiery and powerful, and she can do absolutely everything, and it's just such a good book. She's so good. I love her character. She's also very witty and funny, which is just like a bonus. Now, this book follows Selena's backstory. So it's pretty much everything that happened before this book. So this is where the series begins, and it begins with her just getting out of a salt mine, which is, she's 18 years old. This is from the back. I'm not spoiling it. These aren't spoilers. So this follows, I'll just read it out. In the dark, filthy salt mines of Endovia, I think that's how you say it, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind, like Black Widow, but she made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Oh no. Young Captain Westfall offers her a deal, her freedom in return for a huge sacrifice. Selena must represent the prince in a to-the-death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land. Live or die, Selena will be free. Win or lose, she's about to discover her true destiny. But will her assassin's heart be melted? That was beautiful. I don't know about you guys, but I got chills. Now, I probably read that really badly, and you're probably thinking that sounds awful, but it's not. Trust me, it's so good. This book is every single thing that happens before this book, and it's the reason why she's serving a life sentence. I highly recommend reading this book first, because I did, and it just makes sense, because it's the start of the story. But if you decide to read it 2 books after, I can't stop you. So that's that. One of my favorite fantasy series of all time, and I mean that. Also one of the longest fantasy series I've ever read. But I just think that it's so good, and you really just need to give it a go, because it will change your life. It's really, really good. So that's my recommendation based off of Black Widow. On to the next one. 2 seconds. Pause for dramatic effect. I'm back. Did you miss me? Did anybody watch Sherlock? Because if you didn't, you won't understand that reference. Oh! Sorry, as I was doing this video, another idea for this video came to my head. I tell ya, just so smart. Alright, the next recommendation is if you like the character Thor. Ah, yay! Chris Evans, am I right? That's not Thor. Chris Hemsworth is what I meant to say. I'm sorry, I just never stop thinking about Chris Evans. Anyway, Chris Hemsworth. We love him. He's from Australia, which is a plus I'm also from Australia. Sorry, you didn't know if I mentioned that. So that's always a plus. And as you know, if you don't know, you should. Thor is the god of thunder and he can control lightning, I think. Yes, he can. This is a very basic line that I've drawn. I mean, they're all basic lines. But if you like Thor in his lightning bearing abilities, you should read the Red Queen series, because this main character can also... I may have just realized that the basis of this recommendation could be a spoiler. It's fine. This is not a spoiler. I don't care, okay? It was a good recommendation. This is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. It looks like this. There are 4 books. It starts this way. I don't know why they're not in order, because it goes this one, this one, this one, and this one, I believe. Look, we're just gonna say that it does. The premise of the story is that there are 2 different sections of society. There are the Reds, who have red blood, and there are the Silvers, who have silver blood. And the Silver are the elite because they possess superpowers. God-like superpowers, that's what it says here. It follows the story of 17-year-old Mare, who is a red girl, who possesses a deadly power of her own. Fearful of her potential, the Silvers hide Mare in plain sight, declaring her a long-lost silver princess. Knowing that one false move will mean her death, Mare must use her new position to bring down the regime from the inside. Now Mare has entered a game of betrayal and lies. And let me tell you, Victoria Aveyard is a phenomenal writer. These books are so good. So many plot twists, it'll break your heart, it'll mend it back together, it'll do everything that you want it to do. It's really, really, really fantastic. If you need any more incentive, not that I think you should, but if you do, there is a love triangle. That's right, I said it. There's a love triangle. And whilst traditionally I don't love the love triangle trope, I do in this series. In this series, I love it. I want more of it. Can't get enough. That is this series. If you like Thor, you'll like the Red Queen series. Next, this book is making a reappearance because it was in my last recommendations video, but I explained it really badly. So we're gonna do it again. This recommendation is based off of if you like the Avengers movies. See how I said it was a group? I think that's one of the great things about Marvel, and one of my favorite things about the Avengers movies is the dynamic of that group. Even though the group's changing. This book is The Six of Crows, the duology. I will never stop talking about these books, ever. If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to kill me. Sorry, there's a little TikTok reference for you. Anyway, Six of Crows. Last video, I explained it really, really badly. So I'm just going to read off the back of this and add my own little variations. I can't wink, it's fine. Criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker has been offered a chance at a deadly heist, break into the ice court, a military stronghold that has never been breached, and retrieve a hostage whose knowledge could change Grisha magic forever. To succeed would mean riches beyond Kaz's wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. And these are the people that make up the Crows, or the group that he's going to perform the heist with, kind of like the Avengers. A convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, or a thief, and a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. Sorry, I just forgot who the characters were for a second. A little bit of context. You may have heard of the Shadow and Bone Netflix series. That is based off of, the Crows are in that series. There is the Shadow and Bone series, which is another fantasy series that's from the same universe. So it's called the Grishaverse, if you can see it up there. Oh, it's by Leah Bardugo, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. But it's the Grishaverse, and basically Leah wrote the Shadow and Bone series first. Oh, I don't know what order she wrote them in, but I'm assuming. And then she wrote these two, and then she wrote another duology that's all from the Grishaverse, so they all connect. In the Shadow and Bone Netflix series, the crows are in it, but their storyline is completely different to the books. I personally prefer them in the books, because why wouldn't I? It's the books. They're so good. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. I should probably crack open the door. Look, I'm just going to crack open the door, because I might pass out. That really didn't do much, but it's fine. It's because I have the window closed, because I don't want people who are walking there to like hear me just talking to myself. I mean, I'm not talking to myself, but they think that I am. I really am. I'm talking to you. You're my phone, so. Oh my god, there's literally no air left in the world. What the heck is happening right now? Toughen up, Georgina, toughen up. Okay. So, a lot of people say that you should read the Shadow and Bone series first before the Six of Crows. I didn't, but I had no problem understanding what was happening. There were times in the start where they would reference the universe and like different things that were happening in the world that I think maybe would have been more explained in the Shadow and Bone series, but it certainly didn't deter from my ability to understand what was happening. If you love the Avengers, if you love the kind of intense, what's gonna happen, each member of the group has something different to bring, I would highly recommend these books. Unlikely Heroes, I think I said that in the last video. I'm just repeating myself. And it's really, really good. And there's a little romance in there. Well, there's a couple little romances in there that are just beautiful. And the characters are really, really likable despite them being criminals. Am I right? So, that's my recommendation for if you like the Avengers movies. Now, also, I said it in my last video, but just in case you missed it, I rated The Six of Crows 4 out of 5 and The Crooked Kingdom 5 out of 5. So get on it, start reading it. The next and probably final recommendation is for if you like Doctor Strange. Stephen Strange, if you will. The Doctor Strange movies delve into a little bit more of the magic side. The magical element of things. Sorry, had something in my eye. These books, there's a lot of them, so you've been given a warning. But for Doctor Strange, I would recommend it's kind of a double series, so you're getting more bang for your buck. Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices series. They are both by Cassandra Clare. I will say straight up that these books are made for a bit of a younger audience, but that doesn't make them less likable. It just, if anything, makes them easier to read. I started reading these when I was probably 11. I actually have no idea. I don't know why I'm guessing. This series starts off first. So this series is the Infernal Devices. It's similar to Leigh Bardugo in the way that Cassandra Clare wrote a couple of series based on the same world. These books delve into more magical side of things than the other books. There is magic in most of the other books, but this one is kind of more heavily centered around magic. The Infernal Devices series follows 16-year-old Tessa Gray in England during the reign of Queen Victoria. This book introduces vampires, warlocks, and other supernatural folk. So there are supernatural creatures. This is all just Marvel as well, because there's lots of supernatural creatures in Marvel. Friendless and hunted, Tessa seeks refuge with the Shadow Hunters. So the Shadow Hunters are a band of warriors dedicating to ridding the world of demons. And she's drawn quickly into their world and meets their characters. They're very lovable characters. There is a love triangle, but this is the book where I don't love the love triangle. Obviously, in love triangles, you always prefer one person over the other, and I did in this case. But I will let you decide who you prefer, and then come back and let me know. It's a lot of magic. It's a lot of very suspenseful writing. I do really like Cassandra Clare's writing, despite it being, I think, made for a younger audience. I do still think that it's really great, and I just would really recommend it. I think it's a really, really good read. Going on from that is the Mortal Instruments series. This is book 1. So it starts with The City of Bones. There is Shadowhunters on Netflix is the TV version of this. I'm not a big fan of that version just because I think Clary, the main character, is spot on in terms of look, but I think some of the other ones I don't really like as much, so it takes away. This is what it says on the back. Clary Frey is seeing things. Vampires in Brooklyn and werewolves in Manhattan. Wow, I'm about to go to Brooklyn. I hope I don't see any vampires. Irresistibly drawn towards a group of sexy demon hunters, Clary encounters the dark side of New York City and the dangers of forbidden love. I kind of hate that it says sexy on the back, but it's fine. Because they are sexy. Are they? Yeah. I thought this was a children's book, so I don't know why it's saying sexy on the back. It's actually not a children's book. It's like YA. If you like Vampire Diaries, you'll like this. I also really like the way that the characters from these books interact. I think that's one thing that's different in these books. In the TV series of Shadow and Bone, the characters in The Six of Crows and the characters in Shadow and Bone interact, but they never do in the series, and they never do in real life. Not me talking about them as if they're real people. They've never met each other. They don't know each other. Because they're real people, okay? They exist. Leave me alone. Whereas these characters in these books, I think Cassandra Clare is really clever in the way that she introduces them and in the way that they integrate in a really smart way. Like, this is in the reign of Queen Victoria, and this is about like 70, 80 years after, I think, something like that. Maybe like 100 years after. It's a very big difference. It's a long time after this, but there's still some interaction there, which I really, really enjoyed. In terms of spiciness, not spicy at all. Also not spicy at all. When I say not spicy, I don't mean that there's no romance. There's hella romance. Hella romance, Georgina? Oh my God. There's a lot of romance, but there's no smut. Give the people what they want. In the Red Queen series, again, no, nothing. Zilch. Nada. In the Throne of Glass series, not until like the, I want to say, 6th book. That's the video. I actually really enjoyed this one. So let me know if you have any more ideas. I hope you have a lovely time. I hope you buy the books that I'm recommending, because I really do recommend them because I like them. I think that if you want to start reading fantasy, I think that these are great ideas. I think if you like Marvel and you think you might like fantasy, go for it. No harm in trying, am I right? But yeah, I really like these books, and I hope that you do too. All right, you do too. You do too. Anyway, have a lovely day. Bye.